I know that you are all good at various skills of teaching. Let me say something briefly about the teaching skills. And in my presentation, I have connected teaching skills as one of the components. Then again comes to the automated assessment. A few examples, some of the practical examples I have connected. And also I mentioned the rubrics and how rubrics can be made for assessment. These are the things. There are 4 platforms I have used for that. Similarly, some of the interactive patterns, interactive platforms, I also included in my presentation. Definitely, some of the platforms will be much familiar to you, but how can we use it as a part of an effective teaching? This is my concern for today. Yes, we are all in higher education. Mostly, most of you are in higher education. Some are research scholars. When you talk about the teaching learning process, the primary thing or primost concern of a teaching learning process is educational experiences. We talk about the social concerns of education. We are talking about lots of supportive mechanism and related discourses, cognitive presence of the learner, content. Of course, content selection matters, climate or the settings of the school climate or college climate, university climate, teaching presence, the presence of mind, and the appearance of the teacher, the teaching pedagogic strategies teacher use, the content strength of the teacher, and also the technology innovation of the teacher. All these are factors affecting the overall educational experiences a student will be getting in a university or college. So when we are talking about assessment, definitely we have to link all these, we have to keep all these in mind. It is not about conducting some examination and getting the marks, because we are giving physical or what we call it as face-to-face experiences of students, so that they are also getting all the experience. So as the new education policy 2020 mentions, we are talking about an all-round development, 360 degree assessment. We talk about when we talk about the school education, but in the higher education also we have lots of development as per NEP. Comes to the learner, as we know that a transformative learning experiences we would like to give for the learner. So the learner is expecting certain things from the system as such. Before going to assessment, we have to understand how teaching is happening and what are the expectations of a student, of a learner in a system of education, including universities and colleges. Of course, it has some of the things like presence of the teacher. Of course, the presence of the teacher, speciality of the teacher, how much to what extent the teacher is ready for delivering the lecture with all the so-called affluences. In terms of the teacher affluences, we can say that the content, reference materials teacher should be having, the teaching learning materials that support the learning context in the classroom and the university, and also the assessment practices, to what extent the teacher can give the differentiated assessment and also the meaningful assessment. Impactful stories. Of course, a university student is expecting lots of impactful stories. The colleagues, the class fellows, and the alumni, some of the teachers as the alumnus of the institution, they're all having impact into the learners learning experience altogether. Rich collaboration. Of course, in a university or college, we talk about, we have lots of collaborations. We need collaborations in learning, so that it will be adding to the work ready skill of the candidate. A candidate is going out as a researcher or as a master postgraduate student. They are expected lots of skills, transversal skills. These days we talk about transversal skills. So to reach collaborations among the departments, between the departments, and also intra-departmental connections, along with interdepartmental connections. These are all the requirements. So deep interaction digitally with resources and also with people. These are all the expectations. Meaningful tasks, including assessment, meaningful tasks they are expecting in a system, and also sense of belong. I am a student of University of Kerala. I am expecting this kind of specific skill traits in me as a graduate from the University of Kerala. Like there are many components associated with that. Before going to go, this is, I just mentioned something about the policy. When we talk about anything in terms of national education policy, it mentions that rigorous training in the terms of learner-centric pedagogy is required. It is not a simple thing of a national education policy of this time, that is 2020. Even in 1986 policy you look into, it talks about lot of technology integration. It talks about rigorous professional development of the teachers for enriching the teaching learning process. Similarly, in NEP 2020, it mentions that how to become high quality online content creators. Teachers, as we are targeting a group of teachers, those who are skilled in terms of technology as well, because especially in the post COVID, the new normal, we talk about the technology use is has been increased tremendously. Its wavelength, when we look into it, has a tremendous growth in its progress. Similarly, when we talk about the AI, after the AI revolution in 2020 onwards, we have lots of changes in the content creation, in the delivery of the content, approaches towards the educational resources, including the open educational resource movement, and all these are all having connotation with the sentence that is mentioned in the NEP 2020. Teachers' role is no, it is facilitating the active student engagement with the content and with each other. This is actually content is required. So the teacher's duty is to reach or take the students towards the better content, the exact content, by teaching the 21st century skill like resource knowledge and also the technology knowledge. And when we come to when we come to the some of the other aspects, what is actually required when we look into the UGC's concerns. When I go through some of the directions of UGC says that as a teacher should ensure all these things among students. Of course, disciplinary knowledge is a concern. When we are assessing a student, these are the factors should be in mind, so that we can also improve the teaching learning process accordingly. Disciplinary knowledge is one among the six components. Is one among the six components. Disciplinary knowledge doesn't matter that it should be minimized, it should be there properly. Communication is a matter. When we look into the communication, some of the students, when we communicate with them, even in the local language, in their mother tongue vernacular language, they are not able to communicate properly. If you talk about a assessment, comprehensive assessment of a student, definitely communication should also be assessed. English, has, even though the NEP talks about the local language, it talks about the mother tongue instruction, mother tongue based instruction, it talks about the Indian rooted languages and all. But at the same time, as a global competitor, the candidate is going out with all the skills that we have to ensure, because communication skill, English as a link frank, it has its own significance. Whenever you are assessing a child, whenever you are assessing your student, definitely the communication should have a matter, or it should be a priority of all the higher education teachers, that we have to ensure that communication is getting priority in the universities and colleges, especially the English language along with the vernacular language. Critical thinking, problem solving, analytical and reasoning skill, because all the competitive examinations, context based examination, they are all problem based examination. So if a candidate is not ready for such kind of competition, having basic understanding of the critical thinking, problem solving, analytical reasoning, and related research skills, they may not be able to achieve success when they compete with the other counterparts they are studying in the other institutions, other countries, other states, and all. So it is a mandate, and it is also mentioned in the UGC document, 2020 document. UGC has a special document, LOCF, it mentions about it. Similarly, cooperation, teamwork, scientific reasoning, some of the things. I'm just reading out. These are the things: information literacy, digital literacy, self-directed learning, multicultural competence. These are all the requirement. Some of the universities in the appointment, I've seen that those who are having multicultural competence, they will be given more preference in the selection. some of the concerns when you go for a selection of a central university, sometimes state those who are coming from state universities will not be getting that much preference over to the, or when we compare it with the candidates from the central university, because it is a sometimes it is happening also. Central university is a miniature form of a cultural plurality of India. So that way, most of the selection committees prefer those who are from central universities to state university. It is not a visible fact, or it is not a kind of things that is written somewhere else, but it is a fact that these are the consideration. Moral or ethical concern, moral ethical concerns, and again awareness, restraint, leadership readiness, all these things are some of the things very specifically we have to incorporate when we talk about the assessment as well. So 21st century, I'm not going to the 26th century skills in detail, because the university or colleges should have the clarity regarding all the curriculum should have one or these aspects of 21st century skills, including critical thinking, creativity, problem solving, communication, collaboration, building arguments, information literacy, media literacy, technology literacy, etc. And also it has another part like inquiry process, and third part is about writing, graphing, video developing. That altogether we call it as project related skills. These are the three specific skills across the curriculum we should develop this. So some universities, some of the private universities, we have seen that students are having all 21st century skills. Doesn't matter that some universities are on their own, they are just focusing on such kind of skills specifically. Some central universities and state universities are also looking into such kind of development of 21st century skills as such. Why the we can also see that why some of the leading institutions of national import like IMs, why IMs are getting placement like 100%, 98% of placement for the IM Ahmedabad, IM Bangalore, IM all the IIMs are getting better placements. Why? Because they are having a kind of curriculum where they will not compromise anything from the 21st century skills, because it should be the, they will definitely incorporate these kind of things in the curriculum, so that the students will also will always be ahead of the other groups of competitors. That is actually their success most of the time. So when a university is competing in terms of the ranking, in terms of the assessment and accreditation, definitely they have to compete in terms of integrating the 21st century among students as well. Now, before going to the before going to the assessment, what is actually the base we have to assess? So before coming to this slides also, I can tell you some of the very significant thing that in any teaching learning situation we have three levels of teaching learning. You must be knowing that we initially we talk about a pre-active phase of teaching. So before going to a teaching class or your lecture hall, whatever we call it as university or college, so you should think in terms of whether I am prepared in terms of the learning outcome. I have some learning outcomes. So I am preparing in terms of the learning outcome, some of the aspects. I plan about my materials, what content I am going to teach. Of course, I'll have an outline. Second is what are major learning outcomes I am going to ensure after completion of my lecture of 1 hour or two. Third one is what are the additional reading materials or elements I need to keep to develop among students. So all these I am preparing in the pre-active phase of teaching. What kind of pedagogic strategy I am going to use, if it is andragogues, if it is adult learners, what kind of andragogic strategies I am going to use, what kind of heutagogic principles I am going to adopt as a part of my teaching learning process. This is first and foremost thing that we have to see. Whatever we are planning based on the curricular directions, I'm just taking into the class, and now it is actual phase of teaching. We call it as it is active phase of pre-active phase of teaching, active phase of teaching. In the active phase of teaching, classroom discussions will happen, classroom delivery of content will happen, interaction between the teacher. There are three types of interaction you must be knowing: teacher student interaction, student teacher interaction, and student student interaction. These are the three different types of interaction possibilities in a classroom, especially in the higher education classroom. Similarly, the examples that we are going to give, the activities and projects we are going to assign to the student, similarly the question that we are going to raise as a part of the discussion, brainstorming and discussion sessions, all these are all significant in terms of making the classroom a meaningful core or meaningful globe that we can call it as. So this will happen actively in the classroom. Now the teacher has to go to the third level that we call it as, it is assessment or evaluation. Assessment, evaluation. Evaluation actually is a broader term that we use for qualitatively judging the indexed thing. Whatever we got assessment or through measurement, whatever we got it, the way we are judging upon that is known as evaluation. We know the different terminology of evaluation. We have summative evaluation, we have formative evaluation throughout the class and during the development of the program, development of the sessions. We are using formative evaluation as well. Summative at the end of the semester or end of the year, what we are conducting, it is actually the summative evaluation. So decision about evaluation also matters about the curriculum or learning outcomes that we have. So I am teaching some content. Now the assessment, matter of the assessment is that what is my content, what are my learning outcomes, to what extent I would like to incorporate the content into the teaching learning process, whether they have achieved the exact learning outcomes or not. These are the significant things that we have to learn initially before going to that. How the outcomes are planned, that I've mentioned here, because it is also having a link with the evaluation. See, the outcome based assessment, the outcomes we plan and outcomes we design based on the mission and vision of the institution, based on the inputs that we receive from the outsiders, interested parties or stakeholders, we call it as. Employers are the stakeholders of an institution. Employers, because we are giving the employees to the employer. Employers are coming to give placement for the employee, for the students of ours. So they are the stakeholders. Parents are the stakeholders. Alumni, they are alumni, they are the stakeholders. Similarly, existing students are also the stakeholders along with teachers. So they're all giving the input towards the designing and redesigning of the learning outcomes. So if my students are going out after, for example, they are completing their bachelor of commerce. So bachelor of commerce, they are going out, and after their completion of 1 year, they came for an alumni meet. They started explaining, sir, the curriculum that we are having is not updated, because when we go for interview, we were not selected in many companies because we were not having updated knowledge of the software that is being used in companies. This is one of the input I am getting. So as a university administrator, as head of the department, or as a in charge of a program, coordinator of a program, I have to decide my students should not be behind the other students in terms of the skill. I also have to incorporate. That is why many of the national important institutions like IITs, they are leading in the placement. They are getting 100% placement all the time, every year. Why? Because their partnership with industries and the assessment practice is like that only. Their assessment is like that only, because they are significantly giving the assessment as a significant concern, and they are asking the in prior they will have meeting with the industry people. Their partnership will be very significant. They will ask what kind of software you are going to incorporate as a part of this. How will the system, how are you going to design and redesign the system? And again, this will help them to nourish, and this will help them to redesign the learning outcomes they will have. Then again, accordingly, we are teaching learning will be happening, assessment will be happening, feedback, we are getting the feedback. These are all the concerns that we have to. This is again, it has lots of things I don't want to explain properly as such, because we have all these concerns to discuss. See, course specific outcomes, program learning outcomes we have, all education, all complete mission of the university. All these concerns are part of the outcome based education. These days, University Grants Commission and all the apex bodies in education, including NCTE, National Council for Teacher Education, similarly the Medical Council, Dental Council, Bar Council, AICT, management. So all these people are coming up with the specific guidelines regarding the practice of outcome-based education and related concerns. Now, see in specific, how can we use this? Because this is the base of your assessment. Outcomes are the basis of your assessment. Whenever you are going to assess something, the base is learning outcome. So we have to give proper statements of learning outcomes. We also have to communicate it to the staff and students before going to complete your program. These are the learning outcomes. You are expected to achieve these and these outcomes. So if you're not getting, properly do the activities for that. We are arranging the conferences, we are arranging a workshop, we are arranging field visits. We have a provision for the internship, apprenticeship. It is not simply for the namesake. These are all related to the learning outcome. You can read the learning outcome, you can communicate with your students all these way about their learning outcome. Then they will realize, okay, I have to complete this, otherwise I'll be odd among the people, because I'll not be getting any placement. Such kind of thing they will realize. We also should have educational strategies. We have to adopt educational strategies to ensure the learning outcome. Then only it will be properly implemented. Again, all the learning opportunities we have to make available for the students. Course content to be restructured, student progression through the course, learning outcomes are usually expressed and it will be mentioned. So all these are some of the very specific things that we can identify as a part of the learning outcome and related concerns. Now, again, before going to the assessment, what you are going to assess? Assessment, of course, assessment should have a clarity regarding what I am going to assess, why I am going to assess, what learning outcomes you have. It should be properly assessed in terms of the taxonomy of educational outcome. This is much familiar these days to everyone. So I am going to assess something in terms of higher order thinking. I am going to check whether they are able to analyze things properly, because my subject is political science. All the political science students, whether they are able to understand the thing is not my concern. My concern is that after understanding, whether they are able to apply in the real life situation and also analyze various things with certain parameters. Suppose you are going to say something about any idea, you need, just as a part of the thing, you need to have an understanding. Suppose you are talking about basic computer literacy among students. We start in the class 1 or class 2. So mostly we talk about remembering level, computer, definition of computer, CPU, different parts of the computer, input, output, central processing unit. Most of the students are not taking in the class 1 or 2 initial stages regarding what is this CPU, what is this input and output. They will give you some of the name, but mostly if they don't have proper access and first-hand experience with the computer, they will not understand anything. Simply for the names, okay, computer has three parts: input, output, central processing unit. This is actually remembering level of learning. Some smaller classes we have the general knowledge. You must be knowing that general knowledge. What is asking? Who is the Prime Minister of India? Who was the first Prime Minister of India? What is the capital of India? These are actually, if you are teaching this to a UKG student, these are all remembering level only. They don't know who is Jawaharlal Nehru. They don't know who is Narendra Modi, the qualities, qualification, whatever it is, the roles, power, function. They don't know anything about the Prime Minister. What is his function? They are just able to say Prime Minister Narendra Modi, first Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru. They can tell this only. This is actually, or India, capital of India is New Delhi. What is capital? What is a country all about? what is the capital and what is the function of a capital, why we call it as a capital. We are not teaching at all anything to the students at that level. It is only the remembering level. When they are moving to the higher classes, we are teaching one by one. For example, in the sixth or seventh, we are teaching about Panchayati Raj institution. So we have a clarity that students are understanding, they are able to explain properly the thing. What is Panchayat institution? They must have seen Gram Sabha. Their parents must have gone to Gram Sabha. They learn, they must have listened to the terminology Gram Sabha, president, member, such kind of thing. So these are all the understanding level. They will be able to explain something about it in a better fashion. So periodically, gradually, we are giving that kind of assessment. When, for example, when computer science, we talk about the programming, Python programming, for example, Python programming without application, nothing about understanding. You have to apply it. You have to give a program. You have to write a program. You have to design a thing related to and write a program for something. Actually, this is actually application. Whatever I am learning, I am applying into a situation. I am able to apply. This is higher level. Comparatively, it is higher level. Next is again coming to analyzing. If a computer science student can have two options, they have two options to write programming. Whether they go for Python or whether go for the other language, C++. Which one is better? They both are okay for them and they are having mastery over both the languages. What I prefer for this? Can I use this instead of that? This are actually we call it as analyzing. For example, suppose we are talking about a building construction engineering. An engineering student is exposed to analyzing. How they get a kind of analyzing skill? As a layman example, I'm just giving you. When they are going to construct a building, one is in the river side, river valley. They are going to construct a building. The other building is constructed in a hilly area. The third building is near the coastal area. So their concern about the materials will be different. Whether I go for a beam of steel? Can I go for a concrete beam? Can I give for a strong belt of a basement, or simply I go for a normal basement? Can I go for a concrete base down, which is a deep basement? Shall I go for that or not? These are the things they are deciding based on their knowledge and application. I know something, I understood something, I tried applying. When I go for an internship, I got an accompaniment with an engineer. I just worked with him for 6 months as a part of my internship and field visit. I got an idea. Now I am going to decide myself. I am able to analyze cost effectiveness, clarity, what kind of material I use, which kind of cement I use, what is the proportion of the sand and cement I can use in this specific context of the this specific land area. Understanding the geography, understanding the structure of the soil, water content, everything, climate of the thing, whether it is rainy area, whether it is a normal area like a North India, snowfall area like Kashmir, or very hot area, desert area like Rajasthan. All these things are the priorities. They will be able to analyze and do that. Definitely, they have a skill of analysis. Evaluating further, they will be able to judge upon something. And then last is creating. They are designing something on their own. It is the highest level. They are creating on their own, all getting all the information and theoretical and analytical map they will have, and they will be going to design something innovative. This is actually if you give this kind of skills to students, gradually they will be able to level, their level will be higher, like a creating level. They will be able to do that to a creating level. So this, if the teaching is this way, assessment should also be this way. All these are teaching, we are teaching all these, and finally assessment is what and why. What is this, why this? We are giving marks or 90 percentage or 85 percentage to everyone. This should not happen, because the mark and the skill should have a balance between. There should be a balance between the skill of the student and the knowledge they gained, and also their marks in percentages. Otherwise it will be simply the waste of time. Recently I've seen an examples. One of my friends mentioned that his son was going to his son got a specific kind of job in Middle East. He got an interview call. The person invited, the CEO of the company is his friend only. His son is going to get appointed. They took a visa and visiting visa and went to that specific area, got interviewed. Though they realized that he is having a specific mark, they are very good, his engineering and management is completed, he's having a good marks. But when comes to the communication, when it comes to the skill, when comes to the software knowledge, they were not up to the level. So we have to teach the students that you should earn your skill, whether it's directly getting from the college or university or not. You should have this, because this is the learning outcome. These are the learning outcomes we are expecting. So you have to practice and get into such kind of skills, then only you will be going to be a successful candidate for a better selection. Because ultimately, whatever we are talking about education, it is all about the skill, all about the job that we are going to, where I'll get an appointment, where I can make money out of my career, out of my those skills and qualification. This is actually the ultimate, especially in India. We are not learning, we are not getting the degree for a leisure. It is not leisure. Leisure is one of the components of aims of education. But actually, in India, we are not practicing that. It is not always for a leisure, it is mostly for a career only. So that we have to make sure that they are just getting all these kind of skills. These are the things I wanted to explain initially. Again, see, when we are just giving the question, we have to give this kind of thing also to the students, teacher. So such kind of teacher should also be research oriented teacher. Whenever we are talking about a teaching, teacher should be research oriented. What is the current area, current findings in I'm talking about some specific things. Suppose I am teaching in nanotechnology, so I should give some of the evidence of recent designs and developments in nanosciences. Then only I'll be able to update with the knowledge to the students, systematically identifying gaps in the existing findings and follow-up question we have to give. All these are some of the aspects we have to see as a part of the research oriented teaching. Now, the better teaching we talk about, for the better teaching, definitely the flipping is required to ensure better learning outcomes. You will get a better, higher order thinking skills achieved when you practice flipped kind of learning. Earlier, we were practicing, nowadays, also, we are practicing the traditional kind of things. We are giving a lecture and also giving the homeworks, homework or related activities to the students. Sometimes they are doing, sometimes they are doing. There is no space for questions or classroom activities. In the flipped classroom, in the flipped learning, the material will be given in advance. Whatever the lecture as a video or a lecture notes, or sometimes as a materials, some articles or research paper, we are sending in advance. Students will be getting a kind of training into this. All of you get ready, you just learn everything, come to the class, we'll have assessment. This is actually the fruitful assessment that we are going to have. Lots of ideas, lots of insights they will bring to the class, and it will be a good interaction in the class. We don't want to teach directly, because uh, learners of UG and PG, they are able to read English, they are able to read their textbooks and comprehend and come up with some of the very specific ideas of concrete nature. So what is the thing is that further discussion we have to have the flipped kind of learning in the classroom. Blended learning is also a part of that. Going to now, finally, before coming to the assessment, I can tell you that in planning of teaching, the student resources, space and time, calendar, academic calendar, related examination, learning outcome, these are all the things a teacher should have in mind before planning proper teaching. I have to think something about my students. I have to say something. I have to discuss something about the resources. I have to keep in mind how, where are resources? How can I go for resources? Space and time, calendar, academic calendar. Can I follow that? Am I successfully following that? Research, related researchers, examination patterns, and of course, the learning outcomes. Now, coming to the evaluation, and directly we are going to the assessment or automated assessment. After this slide, we'll give going to the automated assessment. As a framework, we have mentioned how teaching should progress significantly. Yes, when we talk about evaluation in teaching, there are mainly we talk about three types of evaluation. That is three type of assessment. That is assessment of learning. At the end we call it as summative assessment of learning, to what extent they have learned. This is at the end of learning. So you should have comprehensive question, you should have higher order questions in the MA and BA, MD, BEd, whatever it is you have, MSc, BSc classes, MCom, BCom, LLB, LLM, all the classes. You should have the higher order level of assessment, at least half of the total questions. It should be assessed accordingly, then only it will be able to, you will be able to get proper assessment. Assessment of learning. Assessment for learning is actually in between. During the classes we have assessment, during the class hours we are having assessment. Like you are asking something for developing the lesson, you're asking some previous knowledge question. Last class I have learned, I've taught you something, I'm going to ask you some questions. Can you say some of the concerns regarding this? I'm asking them regarding that. It is actually assessment for learning. It helps the learning, it facilitates the learning. That is actually assessment for learning. Assessment as learning is actually the self evaluation by the student. Student is evaluating by himself or herself, by themselves. That is actually we call it as assessment as learning, to ensure that they are in the right track of learning. Assessment as learning. When we talk about the evaluation, again it is formative. Assessment for learning is actually the formative evaluation. Summative, it is assessment of learning at the end of a semester, end of a unit, end of a year we are giving. That is actually summative evaluation. Again, in some of the universities they follow the diagnostic evaluation. What is actually diagnostic evaluation? Diagnostic evaluation is to identify the lacks in learning, whatever the lacks in learning, that we are mentioning as a diagnostic evaluation. To identify that, we are giving test, that is diagnostic evaluation. These are all the basic things about assessment and assessment practices. The context of teaching also we have explained. Now see, automated assessment. So when we are going to the automated grading system, I am going to give you an exposure of EdCafe AI and also co-grader. You must be, some of you must be having the experience of it. I'm so sorry if you have already know about all these. Otherwise, I'll give you, I'm sure that some of you must be new to the EdCafe AI and co-grader. So my concern of explaining this is, before going to that, my concern is that what is actually the basic issue of the teacher in assessment? What are the basic issues of the teacher in assessment? Can you write in the chat box what are the basic issues of assessment that we have as a teacher? What are the basic issues we face in assessment? Can you write something in the chat box? What are the basic issues that we have? What are the basic issues? Yeah, time, need to evaluate a lot of assignment. Yes, cheating is the time consuming. Yes, maintaining objectivity is wonderful, Kamala ma'am. Which is maintaining objectivity is one of the very significant, especially in the essays. It's very difficult. Sometimes I also think of whether I was very impartial. Sometimes lots of assignment we are getting and we will have a deadline in our university because of the ranking parameters and all. There are very strict regulation we have, because if you have less than 100, you have to give within 3 days. You have to give within 3 days. If you have more than 100, you have to give in 1 week. Answer sheet you have to give in 1 week. If it is less than 100, you have to give in 3 days only. Again, extension 1 or 2 days you will get extension, because they have to publish the result within 15 or 20 days of after exam, last examination. Normally within 15 days they will publish all the examination results. So it is a kind of pressure to the, it is enough, time is enough, I know that, because we are all taking last moment most of the time. So fairness in assessment is a matter. How can I ensure the fairness? Especially if it is MCQ based assessment, it is easy. MCQs, it is easy. We call it as objective assessment. Objective based assessment is easy to give assessment. When it comes to the subjective assessment, it is very difficult to have a record of subjective assessment. And again, it is very comprehensive as we have to look into the entire pages to ensure that I am just going to the assessment very significantly. So here the value points matters. Yes, comprehensive evaluation matters. The value points matters. So I have to make the value points as many as possible. As many as possible value points you have to design. When we are going to go for the co-grader and all, we have to fix the value points very significantly. I'm using the chat box for the time being to write something before going to the ed cafe. For example, see, you are just making to you are just going to evaluate an answer script. Your question is that discuss, for example, discuss the complications. I'm in a, my subject, I'm just complications in democratic administration in India, for example. This is one question. Discuss the complications in democratic administration in India. One question. Second question, I'm talking analyze the merits and demerits of.
Sir, sometimes even
Yes,
the terminology like discuss or analyze has become really ambiguous for the students,
yes, yes,
the sense to which
definitely.
level they can discuss
Yes,
or
yes,
under which aspects they can analyze.
yes,
So,
yes,
why don't we use some behavioral verbs
yes,
like this
yes.
was told, sir?
Yeah, we can also make it into very specifically. We can also make it very specifically merits and demerits of lecture and demonstration. Can you reword, ma'am? For example,
For example,
uh,
list out the objectives of
yes,
continuous and comprehensive
yeah,
evaluation.
list out the objectives. Yes, list out the
And then
objectives and use the comprehensive value. Yeah, actually,
highlight.
yeah, highlight is one of the terms. Okay, I agree. In certain cases, if list out is very objective, certain cases we can give very objective question. But actually, when we are talking about the higher order thinking skills, if your learning outcome says that you should have higher order thinking skills, so definitely you have critical examination should be critically examined. This should be a thing. Critically examination should be a thing. Commenting on something, you have to give a statement and comment on something. And
In
also,
that case, sir,
yeah,
in that case, because as a higher order question, we cannot avoid that critically examine
yes, yes,
some aspects,
exact,
but
yeah,
we can mention with reference to which aspects we have to
yes, yes,
analyze them
definitely, yeah,
critically.
definitely,
So let it be
definitely,
point out those
yes, yes,
like based on the principles or applicability like this. Uh, we can try to make the
yes.
learner conceptualize.
Yes, yes, exactly. Very specifically, because learner should not be diverted from the main content. So the question should be made in such a way that learner will be getting the exact requirement of the assessor. I'm going to assess my student, so they should know, the student should know that what level my question goes, what is my objective, what is my agenda behind the asking of this question, what level I am asking. It should be very specific and very clear. That is one thing. And again, when we are going to write a rubric or when we are going to write value points, we should be very specific about it. In every essay, we should have an introduction. So for the introduction, we should give very specific marks. It is required. For again, for introduction, what comprehensive it should be, such kind of things we have to very specifically mention. So now let me come to the Ed Cafe. For example, I have just the Ed Cafe. This is actually Ed Cafe's things. You can log in, get started, log in. This is actually the, how many of you have experienced with Ed Cafe? Can you just mention how many of you have experience with Ed Cafe?
No, sir, not yet.
Okay, okay, okay. If you have any one of you having a concern, you can just mention. Okay, yeah. So in Ed Cafe, we can also make, because I was practicing, so I have just made it actually. So for example, I am in Ed Cafe. Suppose if I create new, for example, so this is Ed Cafe initial. I have
For it
login.
into HTML, your
I have
screen is not
logged in.
visible there.
After logged in, I got this one. This is after logging in. I got this one.
Sir, is it a open source software?
It is actually, it is not open source as such, but it is priced. But a free version, you have a free version. This is a free version as well, but it's advanced versions. You have to go for premium pricing. You have, you see. Now, if you go to
Sir, your
create
screen is not
new,
visible.
yeah, yes sir.
Sir, your
If you
screen is not visible.
screen is not
No, sir,
visible.
the screen.
Yes, sir,
Allah, the
it's
screen is
visible.
visible. It is visible.
Okay. Okay, okay, okay. Maybe some, you
You
please
One
can
pin
second.
my
pin the
screen, sir.
screen.
Maybe you have to pin my screen. So here, if in the say, you can also various way we can do that. Suppose let me go to edit of my grade. Okay, this is actually now initially I am going to give some assignment grader, so I can go for assignment grader. These are the say assignment grader option is here. Assessment, teaching learning materials, we have used the flashcards, AI, all these things. We are talking about assignment grader. For example, I am going to develop an assignment grader. So here I am just writing about, see, in assignment grader, you can see this, you can practice. This is a creating new, then we are getting, okay, this is creating new. In the creating new, you have teaching resources, lesson plan, slide, does everything. We are talking about the assignment grader, automatic assignment grader. So here when you see, he says here it is specific detail about your assignment. For example, I am talking about my essay is write a short essay on, I'm just writing, write a short essay on sustainable education. For example, sustainable educational practices sustainable educational practices in 1000 words. I'm just giving this way. This is my question. Write a short say on, or essay, whatever it is, an essay, write an essay on sustainable educational practices in 1000 words. This is my question. Now I am coming to grading instruction. Either I can directly upload my rubrics, it is optional here. I can give the instruction here. I can give the instruction here. Whatever the introduction, I am just writing introduction. It carries 5 marks. For example, it carries 5 marks. Give marks based on the comprehensive nature of the introduction. I am talking about this. If the comprehensive nature of the if it is comprehensive, you can give 5 marks. Accordingly you can divide. This is the first instruction I am giving. Next is sustainable practices is my concern. Sustainable practices in education. Kindly consider, I'm just giving, kindly consider. You can give as per your concern. What is your idea? As a teacher, you should be more partial, more impartial. So without partiality, you should be very impartial in terms of concerns. So maximum instruction, you kindly consider at least 5 major points carrying 5 marks each. I'm just giving, make sure that the detailed answers are getting considered, or detailed answers are preferred. Okay, I'm just giving this. Third is conclusion. Conclusion, 5 marks based on based on remarks and summary. Then I give references if listed all the cited references, give 5 marks. I am giving this way. See, this is my concern. Now, either I can, if I have a very rigorous rubrics, I can upload. Otherwise, I do. Now, create assignment grader. Language is English. Okay, there are some other languages because most of Indian languages will not be available here. So I create the assignment grader. I saved the name grader 2. For example, I mention grader 2. I save it in my library. I saved it. Now I got the assignment grader. Now I can go to assign. I can go to assign. If you assign, you can take the QR, you can link it with your Google Classroom, Microsoft Team. That is possible. Now I am going to give you another thing. Okay. I'm just assigning responses. See, in the responses, if I have responses, I'm just going to response add submission. If you are just directly linking it with your Google Classroom, it will be automatically done. Here I am adding the submission. So some students have submitted their assignment to me. So I created dummy assignment in my this one. See, in my here I have 101 and 102. I have developed 2 assignments with the help of AI. Just I generated 2 assignments in different manner. Okay. Now I am going to add my submission. I am going to add my submission. Write about the submission. Student name, for example, Asha. I'm just giving the Asha as a. I'm just uploading the file. Either you can give the text or upload the file. Click the upload. You can all try. If you're trying, I'll be happy if you're trying. I am just simply uploading the first assignment. Student name is Asha. I have mentioned Asha. Generate feedback. Simply, I can go for generate feedback. So based on my specific directions, it is generating the thing. Overall comment. See, introduction. They have introduction. It has given because I have mentioned comprehensive nature to be understood. See, in the right hand side, I am getting complete feedback about it. If I go to scrutinize, see, or you present a clear connection between education and sustainable development and site relevant global frameworks. Submission is a good start, but it is incomplete for this assignment. It lacks a full 1000 word essay. Structure does not list at least 5 distinct detailed sustainable practices. They cannot, the person, Asha, could not submit that. Has no clear conclusion. Proper conclusion is not there. And provide no references. No reference was available. I will score each required criteria and give concrete steps to that. Scoring introduction. 3 only. Out of 5, 3 only. Reason is given. Because I have already given it should be comprehensive. So they have not mentioned something about sustainable development as emerged as one of the most pressing global priority. So very significantly, it is mentioning about the thing. Second, see, 5 points. I told that I assigned the Ed Cafe that it should be 5. So 5 points is not the total 8 marks only. Out of 25, only this essay got only 8 marks. Reason, because curriculum integration is mentioned. Because it is not in detail. Teacher professional development is mentioned, not in detail. No strategy or example is given. And awareness are noted, but no strategy or example is given. So out of 5, Ed Cafe has given only 1 marks. Campus operational resource management, it is not addressed. It is one of the priority. Because the person has to incorporate. It is not. So out of 5, 0. Community and partnership, policy reference hint at partnership, but no concrete practices. Proper practices is not given. Assessment and learning is not mentioned. So it is not getting again 0. So out of 25, they have mentioned for conclusion, it is not comprehensive. So only 1 out of 5. Reference, no reference listed. So proper evaluation is done. No reference are cited. While UNESCO and SGD4 are referred in the text, there is no formal reference. Whatever we have given, exactly it is followed very specifically. It is not a fault. What is the reason? Everything is mentioned properly for the what will you do. Further suggestion is also given. What will you do? How did you well? Like clear definition, context provided, connect education with sustainability, reference will be given. All these are what to improve. See, what to improve. How can you improve it? Practical checklist. How can you go ahead with all these things are specifically mentioned. You can just directly forward these to the students. Nothing within a click of your things, you are getting that. Now let me add another submission. I have one more submission. So going to the file, upload, plus button is there to upload. So my second file is 102. 102 is a some more detailed file I am given. Suppose I am giving is to Shyam. This is the Shyam. I've just given the name, generate the feedback. I purposefully added more points in that. I generated only through AI. So it is getting, see how much is getting. See 31 out of 40. The other was getting 12 out of 40. This person is getting 31 out of 40. So it is also comprehensive nature. It must be showing. That is why it has given a thing. When you are giving everything together, that is also overall comments is given. Overall comment score, introduction, this much, sustainable practice, educational foundation, integrating sustainability into curricula. Again, maximum 80 percentage is given. So altogether, no reference listed. So the person also got 0 for references. So why they mention all the detailed explanation is given. See, this is actually the wonderful thing. You can create new. I'm just giving again, once again, this is create new. Ed Cafe, create new, assignment grader. Assignment grader. You can also create queues here. Like ChatGPT or Gemini, you can create. So here I am just giving the question here. What is the question? What are the parameters? What are the thing question you are giving? Grading. Grading, whenever you are giving a detailed grading, that much you are getting a detailed, very specific and clear assessment. There is no issues with the students, there is no issues with anyone, because it is a system generated. We have already given these are the parameters. Even in advance we can also give how an essay is being evaluated. This concern you can teach your students as well, so they will be very happy. They can write accordingly, section wise they will write, references properly they will write, so you can also easily submit the they can easily score better. Then if you have a grading instruction you can give, otherwise you can add a rubric. You can generate a rubric and add, that is also possible. Then simply create your grader. After creating your grader, you can just go and assign. You can go to assign and evaluate individually. Now see, for example, if I am going to have a quiz, I need a quiz. Suppose I am talking about a research, I need a quiz about sampling techniques. Sampling techniques, I need a quiz. Sampling techniques, I need a quiz. I need creative and practical questions. What we call it as creative and field based questions. I'm just asking any questions that needs deep thinking. For example, higher order thinking, I can say. I need some questions. I can simply multiple choice, number of questions, or whatever it is you need. I need 10 questions. If any other options you need, language, just generate quiz. So they are getting very specific questions of that. For example, see, these are the very specific. A citizen science project collects water quality. So all these are specific questions based on that. You are getting, then you can assign to students accordingly. This is also possible. Many things. Even the lesson planning is possible. You need to write a lesson plan. You need to create a flashcard. These are all the possible. The concerns of ours was about the grading. That is why I mentioned it, the grading. Any clarity issues? So you can also try now if you have time. You can also try. Ed Cafe is wonderful. So if you're writing, simply tell the students that you write your things only typed one. I need typed one only. Just give the instruction that this way I'm going to evaluate your assignments. So I'll be evaluating your assignment very specifically, so you have to do accordingly, very specifically. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Now the other is co-grader. Co-grader is also having equal kind of thing. Let me come to the co-grader. This is a co-grader. I can add submission. Same way I'm just getting upload file or add manually. I'm just from my device I'm adding a file, because 101 I have just tried when I was doing. Now 102 assignment 102 I have. Just a minute. Assignment 102. Yeah. Done. Now it is showing. Yeah, ready to process. It will process in a while. Here also we have to give all the thing. I have created a class also, class of my students. You can graded class, MAPA, legal aspect of education I mentioned. Assignment 1, this is actually graded. So let me give the grading. See, it is a different kind of grading. It shows all the things. Rubrics, it shows a rubric. So grading parameters. So many things you can go for. A plagiarism is mentioned. AI detection 19, because I just mentioned over that only. Grammar issues, there are 3 grammar issues. Plagiarism is 22%. AI detection is 19, because I generated from AI only. So it shows 99% of AI. So all these things we will be getting out of this. So it is also very good. You can also free grading wala, you can go to free grading now. Okay. Okay. So rubrics, you can go to the rubric. Grading parameters, you can make grading parameters. I have mentioned the grading parameters here. Whether you need a strict or you need to make it balanced, you can make it here. Reading level, advanced reading required or just basic reading, because I don't know the advanced. They will be the advanced learners, they are the beginners, so I get mentioned the basic reading. Length is concise or thorough. What is required length? You can just develop the grain, whether thorough essay is required or concise essay required. I mentioned concise only. Then tone, friendly or formal, what is the required friendly tone or formal tone? That also you can do. If it is an assignment, you can go for friendly, maybe apply. Now it will be regenerated again, because it is grading points have been done. Now we have aligned it, because it is earlier it was a very strict one. So I just went for, whether you need feedback style, star style you need, then you can also make star style. Many things are, these are the rules actually. According to the grading parameters, you can go for grading parameter. We are fixing the grading parameters. Okay. The question is introduction 2 marks based on clarity, major points in detail. All these I have just given as a part of the grading parameters. So once you give the grading parameters, go for add submission. Go for add submission. In the submission, you are uploading the paper, add manually or upload files, whatever it is, you can use it. Then after that, It is graded, needs review. So this is graded. This is graded. Now 8.6. 8.6 out of 16. It is a thing. AI detection out of credit. It is written something else because uh, then whether we have to approve it. If I okay, I have seen that it is okay. I'm just overall I'm just looking into. So it is getting 18.9 out of 16. That is the final thing. If I go back, I'll get the second one. It is also graded. The first one I approved. Second one is graded 10.9. If it is also, you did a wonderful job explaining ideas, keeping you wrote super clear introduction. You did a great job putting your essay into clear section. All these things. Next rubric wise, it is given. You claim an introduction, establish clear focus, claiming with an engaging introduction. That was my concern. Evidence-based references support detailed major points with high quality evidence and appropriate references, analyzing purpose and impact of the information provided. The score is 1.3. Here it is 3.4 in the introduction. Again, organization and logic. Language and style is also mentioned. In the language, the person got 2.8 only. All these things. These are the four major points I have mentioned. If I approve, see, these are the two. He got 10.9. The person got 8.6. Two, then I can export, I can do it. All these things we can do. These are the two very specific, very user friendly, even though it is not, but for something you can do is you can use it and delete the entries and use again. Otherwise, go for pricing. That is also okay. There are many free. I will give you a list. I don't have right now. I'll give you a list in the along with the PPT. I can give it. But learning, you have to watch some of the videos, then definitely you will get an idea about what are the automated grading systems. Now these are the two wonderful things about rubrics development. Rubrics development, actually the teacher may not be able to design the rubrics. Before AI we also generated, because my one of my students, she was doing a rubrics as a study. It was during the COVID period, so we designed rubrics and designed the rubrics with the help of lots of theories we designed. We published also as a tool. Now it is very easy with Magic School Plus. I'm just taking you into Magic School Plus. This is a wonderful tool, Magic School Plus. Yeah. When you go to the Magic School Plus, you will get lots of things here. What kind of tools you need? Academic content you will get, professional email generation, IEP generator, YouTube video questions, lots of things you will get it. Lesson plan, worksheet generator, report cards and comments. It is a wonderful Magic School Plus. Even though its name is School Plus, but it is useful for across the level in the higher education as well. Simply with your Google account, you can log into the Magic School Plus, and at the end, somewhere you can see letter of recommendation you can generate. Rubrics, somewhere it is. Survey creator, quote of the day, many things you have. Rubrics. Yeah, rubric generator here only. Rubric generator. See, YouTube video question. These are all wonderful tools actually. You can use, you can try. Rubric generator. For example, what is your grade level? So I've just mentioned here, this is a school level it is mentioning, but I can also change it. Now I just, for the time being, I just, what is your point required? Whether you need a 5 point. Generally in the thing, we go for a 5 point scaling. What is your objective? You can objective, you can write. Suppose you are talking about I assigned my students two questions. sorry, one question for my two students. So my question was, I need to test their writing proficiency in terms of academic writing skills. This is my concern. This is my concern. Okay. I need to test their writing proficiency in terms of academic writing. So something grammatically, lots of errors. I don't care now. Assignment description. Assignment description. So you need to, right? Okay, I'm just giving an assignment description. You are requested to write an essay on sustainable practices in education for about 1000 words. This is my concern. Sustainable education practices for about 1000. This is my essay. Now, additional rubric customization. If you need a rubric customization, I am talking about clarity of language. Whatever I have as a teacher, what I meant about it, what I communicated to my clarity of language, I need. Then interlinkage. Interlinkage is my another concern. Interlinkage of sentences. Contextualizing. Contextualizing is my concern. Then there is summarizing at the end. Proper academic usages, academic writing usages I have. Logically arranged. In text citation. In text citation. These are some of the things I am giving to the for generating the rubrics. I am giving some ideas. As a teacher, I need some ideas. I need to give some ideas. Otherwise, rubrics will be generated, but now you are simply going to generate. I'm just giving to generate. After the prompt, I'm just simply generating a rubric. So it is a 5 level. See, whatever the subtopics I have given, I am getting a proper linkage of rubrics. See, I am getting the rubrics with all the points I mentioned. See, if I go for academic writing proficiency rubric on sustainable development practice in education, let's say clarity of language. If language is clear, precise, academic language throughout, vocabulary is varied and appropriate for the topic, I can give excellent 5 marks. If language is mostly clear and academic, minor errors and lapses in precision on vocabulary choice, 4 marks. Language is generally clear with some informal and impressive expressions, satisfactory, 3 marks. Language is often unclear or informal, affecting the meaning. It is not up to the level, so I am giving 2 marks. Beginner, one is beginner. Language is unclear or inappropriate for academic writing. If it is, I am giving 1 marks. So my rubrics is qualitatively very significantly. It is quantified and also qualitatively explained. Interlinkage of the ideas. Ideas seemingly connected with effective transition. Essay flow logically and cohesively. Then if I give 4 marks. Ideas are logically connected with clear transition. Flow is mostly smooth, not always smooth. That is the only thing. Rest is okay. Some ideas connected, but transition may be weak or inconsistent. So proper consistency is not the. So I'm giving you 3 marks only. Connection between ideas are unclear. It is not properly connected. I cannot read one with other. I cannot link one with other. It is disconnected. So I can give only 2 marks. Ideas completely disconnected or randomly organized. Simply copy paste. So I can give only 1 marks. Contextualizing and summarizing is another thing. So purposefully you think what will be my specific rubric points. Academic usage and conventions. Sorry. Logical arrangement is another thing. Index citation and referencing another. All sources are properly, correctly cited consistently in appropriate academic format. Second is most sources are cited correctly with minor incorrections, inconsistency, generally integrated well. 4 marks you are given. Some sources are cited but some errors, inconsistencies. Few sources are cited, many citations are having errors. 2, no citation is provided. Lots of plagiarism evident. So we are giving only 1 marks, least marks. This is actually the rubric generated very specifically through Magic School. You can very specifically make this criteria, and all the designs of the rubric is given. It is a 5 point. I can also make 9 point. I can also make 3 point. 3 point is beginning from the 3 point rubric. So if you find that you are a school teacher, you need very nominal assignment checking, not very strict. So you can go for a nominal 3 grade rubrics, and also go for very less number of points, but you have a good points, good clarity of a rubrics. Better to go like this 5 point, and also having some specific clear explanation of your criteria. You as a teacher can give the criteria. Magic School will create you the rubric. This rubric you can save and you can upload as a criteria for the evaluation, automatic grading. You can in the other co-grader or in the ed cafe, you can use this grading also there for your rubrics, for your grading of your assignment. That is also possible. This is interesting, and you can try very easily. You can now grade with AI is another platform. Grade with AI, it's also very significant one, very good. You can grade with rubrics. You can also upload your assignment and do generate grade import from book. This is also one of the rubrics. See, rubrics, your content, you are just going to have the rubrics, custom instructions. Suppose so I've already made a rubric here. View rubric, whatever I have made, I'm just giving you a rubric. So this rubric is given. Comprehensive academic essay rubric I have generated. It is having different points, criteria, subject matter, and discussion is a rubric. These are the rubrics I already generated. For this, I have already generated this rubric. See, clarity and readability, transition and linkages sentences, citation and references, again, organization and structure, subject matter and discussion. These are the 5-6 criteria I have, and also it's things advanced, giving 20 points for each criteria, proficient 15 points, developing stage 10 points, emerging stage 5 points. This way then we can assign the things also. This is the thing. You can upload your assignment for the rubrics. That can also be upload your assignment. See, based on that, let me upload, create a new assignment. So okay. So upload one student one by one, upload all students in one file. That can also be done. Okay, I'm uploading one student only because I have single different file. Okay, assignment 102 I have uploaded. This is very interesting. You can go to that, this kind of things. You can try. It's very easy because when you don't have time, because generally we go through the assignments and give marks.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. Can we upload the hard copy No, majority time the students are being evaluated
Yeah,
on
no,
hard
no,
copies.
no, sir. Here it's soft copy only. Soft copy only we can, because I don't know exactly the PDF version of the images will take it. I didn't experiment it on that. Now for the with my knowledge, I have seen that it is hard soft copy only. It will work. Uh, I mean the scanned version. I don't know exactly whether it will work or not. If you are having a MOOCs, massive open online courses, in such case you have an online courses, you can do that. These are the examples that way in generation of the rubrics. Now some more interactivity. This is not exactly, because these are the basics. I would like to mention you the major ideas. Now some interactivity assignments. I'm just giving you some how can we make it. It is not automatic grading. It is not at all regarding the rubrics, but I can tell you how we can make assessment. This is actually a story of a fox and grapes, fox and grapes, Lombardy and our you must have learned the story, fox and grapes. So if you, for example, if you are in a class one, any class we can do that. For example, if it is a class one, students are getting exposure regarding the parts of speech. What is a verb, what is a noun, what is adverb, what is adjective, what is conjunction, interjunction, articles, auxiliaries, modal auxiliaries, be forms. All these are giving the exposure to the student. So instead of asking direct questions, you can give this kind of things, because this is a general normal story. I just taken from a Google image. I just gave to the students. I tell, what is the longest sentence in this? Can you write the words? Because the small, two, three small paragraphs. So they will be very happy. They will be listening to the story from the parents. They will be watching the decorum, the choreography, whatever the pictures and all these things they will look into. And also they will be looking into the idea. So with that, they will also develop their own stories. So lots of things we can identify here. So what is vowels? Sentences starting with vowels. I mean, so you can the usage of articles a and the, you can mention that like that, verbal expression, adjectives, adverbs. You can give lots of exercises with a simple story. So instead of giving lots of such kind of things in classroom as a dictation, as a not simply black and white, they will not be able to make it as an interesting assignment. So this can also be make it as a Mentimeter and WooClap. You must have exposure. I'm sure that many of you know the Mentimeter and WooClap, right? WooClap you must be knowing, right? WooClap. If not, I am just giving you WooClap. WooClap is actually interactivity in assessment. Also, how can we make the WooClap in a very significant manner for higher education? Suppose you have given some of the very specific questions that requires in-depth reading. Suppose the questions you are talking about, I'm just talking about the open-ended question. You gave the students details. So what are the, for example, it was you are talking about the development and Indian democracy development. What are the factors? What are the reasons reasons behind India's underdevelopment? India is not that developed. What are the reasons? So I have already given the things. I have already given you the reading material. After reading, I am asking you to write your own opinion regarding that. Here they are reading. So you can all see this. You can do that. I'm just giving you the scanner QR. It goes stuck. I don't know. So once you gave the reading, students can come up with and they can write the answers on their own. Yeah, it is a thing. So this is the thing. You can scan this and write your answers. In the screen, you have a scanner, QR. You can scan it and do that. Is it okay? Whatever you are writing, so nobody has written anything. Okay, it's okay. Okay. So, oh, thank you so much. At least if you are working on that, I have seen that three people: population, corruption, politics, corruption. What are the things actually happening here? If you give this kind of exercise to student, they are reading and comprehending things. One thing. Second is they are reading others. If you share this with the student, they are reading others perspective. They are reading others perspective. Third is they are also simply, if for example they are not reading, simply they are going to a search engine and copy paste. That is also a kind of exercise. If a person is doing nothing, instead of that they are doing something, is actually, it's very good. They are doing something is very good. Simply copy pasting from the AI or from a search engine, that is also okay. At least they are reading sentence from this word to this word I have to copy. At least they will go through that. It is also a concern. It is also good that we are a specific engagement to the students. These are all the things that we have to look into. Okay, got it, got the idea. Now after this, people are reading. No strict rules. We have huge popular. So I am thinking in population and corruption. Some people are thinking about popularity. Some people are talking about nepotism, strict absence of rules. They are talking about corruption and policy, lack of proper policy and lack of ecosystem, corruption, political unwanted influence of the politics. All these things they are talking about specifically. These are the things. Actually, people are given the task and they are, as a formative assessment, you can use this kind of platforms. Similarly, you can also use the answer garden. Answer garden you must be knowing. Answer garden you can answer garden is also same way it is working. If I enter a question, what is, suppose what is learning, I'm just asking you what is learning, then create answer garden is the, you can submit your answer what is learning. So here it will be the thing. Sorry, lots of ads coming. Answer garden is same kind of thing, just like that. So it is getting very slow. Sorry, it is getting slow. Okay, leave it. Now this I have already told you, no? There are, okay, and then now regarding, let me come to the slide again. I have give interactivity, and H5P is also some of the other sources. WooClap we have mentioned. Same way it is Mentimeter. Mentimeter is very common. You must be knowing. Exactly as WooClap, you have Mentimeter. I am not going to that because it is exactly as WooClap. Okay. Now H5P is another thing. H5P, we can have in between questions in between. For example, if I take this node of H5P, yeah, this was when I was in University of Kerala. I developed in an e-content, and based on that e-content, I can suppose you have to give a video, a YouTube video to your students. So instead of giving to simple video, you can design with H5P lots of questions in between that. In between the things, you can give questions. This is my video, and see, see. So in between there are some nodes. We are giving some nodes, and these are a question. So for a formative evaluation, we can give it. In between, they will get, because here is an assignment quiz for you. So the video will be stuck. So I have to answer it then only. What are the characteristics of social science research? Solution to a problem. I just give check. Yes, it is correct. I can continue. See, again came. Which among the following is one of the characteristics of sample? Simple, I mentioned. It is wrong answer. I can try again. Large sample. It is also wrong. I can try again. Representative to the population. Yes, it is a correct answer. I can go. Again, quiz for you. Recently released books is one of the primary sources in social science research. Yes, it is correct. This way we can make lot in the H5P. H5P is also, you can make, I mean, this just, I'm sorry. Yeah. Through H5P, you can make this kind of interactive videos. Definitely, it will help you to make the videos more interesting. So whenever we are giving, doesn't matter that you have to enter all the things and make all these arrangements on your own. You can assign these tasks to your students, some of the class representative, some good students, or whoever is interested in working with technology. Assignments can be given to those people. They will help you out, but the class and the interaction will be very meaningful with these kind of things. Puzzle, actually, puzzle is for kids. We know that puzzle is for kids, but for the some of the topics, like for example, if you are teaching medical science, if you're a teacher of computer science, some of the terminology will be better learned if it is represented as a game or a puzzle. So everyone is interested to have such kind of thing. Everyone is interested to have such kind of things. We are also interested to have such kind of things. Suppose learning some of the very significant thing, some of the for example, you are in Sanskrit or in Ayurveda or in some of the plant sciences, because they have their in plant sciences, their scientific names will be very complicated. The learning the spelling will be very difficult. So you can also use this kind of things, word search. Simply you can give and tell the students to design this kind of thing. These are all the exercises we can use for example, what words you have to search, you can write it here. For example, simply I am just writing some of the words, verbal expression I need to escape, escape, complete, utilize, recognize, listen, some of the verbal expression I need to find out. I'm just putting all the words with a space. I'm just putting all the words with a space. If you need some title for the things, you can just like, for example, botany, quiz or something like you can make quiz or whatever it is. Word search exercise. Simply create my puzzle. So puzzle will be created with a word search manner. It is a word search puzzle. It is created. As a teacher, you don't want to go for the word search. You can see the answer here. See, like a like, put put this way. This is I don't know. This is- Okay, get signify. This is remove remove, remove. Read this way, love, right. So you can also rebuild the puzzle. Same puzzle will be rebuilt in a different manner, so that copying will not happen. This can again it has happened. This is possible and many other possible. Even crisscross puzzle is the crisscross puzzle, fallen phrases, math square is there. Math square, because math square is very interesting. People, especially everyone is interested in solving mathematic equations. So this kind of things as a uh, my brainstorming exercise also you can give. Some are plus, some are minus, very complicated. Show answer, it will show answer. You can also rebuild it, will you will get some more different kind of puzzles with the same idea. See, the other puzzle has created. See, if I go for show answer, I will get the answer. For a teacher, you can make the show answer and use. Certain cases we can also use this kind. Some competitive examination people are preparing, you have to make their mind afresh and all the time very alert. This kind of exercises will be helpful for them. So these are all the things actually we can use. There are some other platforms I have just mentioned. I'll share the PPT. These are some of the uh, mostly for the school students also it can be used. Teachnology is for teachers of schools, not for you. Answer garden we have already mentioned. Online tests, many online tests are also available for the we are talking about the 21st century skills, so we can use this way also. This is a creativity test actually. If you can also use it, I'm just sharing you in the chat box. You can also try whether your creativity is okay or not, to what extent you have creativity. Yeah, creativity test. So you can also give students, let them take is a similarly. There are language tests, many Cambridge, Oxford language tests are also there. MOOC integration is also I identified as very significant one. MOOC integration, if you have some MOOCs to mention in along with your assessment. What I did in the assessment, I gave some related MOOCs to the students. My strategy, I'm typing in the things. Suppose I'm teaching leadership. I was teaching leadership is my topic of discussion. So I search some MOOCs. Search MOOCs on leadership. Some related, I'll get it. Assign the MOOC. I'll assign the MOOC to them. Assign the MOOC to them. Second thing, And later, what we do is we will tell them to give an assignment on that, either integrating that. You can use that as a flipped classroom, flipped material. You can use MOOC as a flipped material. One way you can do. Second is that MOOC as an complete the MOOC and come up with. This can also be given as a formal, what we can as a kind of assignment. So here there are two things. They are completing a MOOC. They will be getting a literacy of the MOOC, how MOOCs works. They are also getting exposure to various speakers, because most of the MOOCs, especially for that, I use Future Learn. If you go to Future Learn, is the main concern of the Future Learn is that, I'm sorry, yeah, Future Learn has many, it is free for learning, not for certification. For certification you have to pay, sometimes there will be offer, but for learning it is free. If I am going to, I need a CV writing skill, I will get skills about CV writing, I will get courses about CV writing. Let me see, wait ahead, yeah, CV, yeah, it is here. Business enterprise, how to get a graduate job, CV writing is a part, work ready skill, job searches, writing a CV, interviewing. This is actually a 2-week course of which university? CQ University, Australia. So